Now that you've properly installed a new set of nice aftermarket components and coaxials to replace your factory speakers, the next step to your system build is putting some power behind those speakers. Our philosophy is to spend more on the speakers than on the amp. This is the best way to increase your audio performance other than proper installation. If your budget allows, get a nice $300 or $400 multi-channel amplifier, but for most, that's not an option. You also don't want to pick up that Walmart special that you'll find in the middle of the frozen food section. In today's car audio world, you can get nice power from a middle-of-the-road amp like the SoundStream Arachnid Series AR4-1800 Class AB 4-channel amplifier. The AR4-1800 is incredibly affordable, coming in around $100. Basically cheaper than that bad date you took on Thursday. Inside the box is a warranty card, manual, fuses, hardware, and 4-channel amplifier. The most unique thing about SoundStream amplifiers, besides their name, is the LED lighting featuring blue illumination beneath the SoundStream logo. This makes for a very cool look in low light situations. The Arachnid AR4-1800 has decent adaptability. It's ideally designed to power 4 speakers, but you can bridge channels 1 and 2 as well as 3 and 4 to run subwoofers. It can also run a 5-channel setup with 2 speakers running on channels 1 and 2 and running stereo speakers on channels 3 and 4 while running bridged output to the subwoofer. This will require you to use caps on the mids and a coil on the sub. SoundStream rates this amplifier 180 watts by 4 channels at 4 ohms, 225 watts by 4 at 2 ohms, and 450 watts by 2 channels bridged at 4 ohms. As always, we'll test it ourselves, but first I want to take a look inside the amplifier. Let's test this amplifier out and see what it can do. The first test we ran was 2 channels driven, 2 ohms, 1 kilohertz, 14.2 volts. Our audio precision will generate our signal and measure distortion. Our HP8903B audio analyzer picked up 130 watts RMS, 1% distortion, and 16 volts of output. Our AMM1 read 104 watts RMS and we drew 35 amps of current. Going down to 40 hertz, 2 channels driven, 2 ohms. Our HP8903B audio analyzer picked up 122 watts RMS, 1% distortion, and 15.5 volts of output. The AMM1 read 109 watts and we drew 35 amps of current. Next test was 4 channels driven, 4 ohms, 1 kilohertz. Our HP8903B audio analyzer picked up 76 watts RMS, 1% distortion, and 17 volts of output. Our AMM1 read 59 watts and we drew 38 amps of current. Going down to 40 hertz, 4 channels driven, 4 ohm. Our HP8903B audio analyzer picked up 72 watts RMS, 1% distortion, and 16.7 volts of output. The AMM1 read 64 watts and we drew 38 amps of current. Our next test was single channel driven, 4 ohms bridged, 1 kilohertz. Our HP8903B audio analyzer picked up 94 watts, 0.9% distortion, and 19.3 volts of output. The AMM1 read 73 watts and we drew 21.5 amps of current. Going down to 40 hertz, single channel driven, 4 ohms bridged. Our HP8903B audio analyzer picked up 92 watts RMS, 1.1% distortion, and 19 volts of output. The AMM1 read 82 watts and we drew 22 amps of current. The AR4-1800 features inputs and outputs for daisy chaining multiple amps together. For adjustments, channels 1 and 2 feature a variable 120 Hz to 3 kHz 12 decibel high-pass crossover. Channels 3 and 4 feature variable high-pass crossover between 120 Hz and 3 kHz, and low-pass between 50 Hz and 250 Hz with 12 decibel slopes. The amplifier does not feature remote bass level control. It will accept up to 6-volt audio inputs, so for lower powered stock stereos, you can solder RCAs for direct speaker level inputs or use a line output converter if your stock stereo exceeds 6-volt outputs, A major con that I found with this amplifier is in order to access the terminals, you have to remove the plastic end caps, which isn't uncommon, but was kind of a pain on this specific amplifier because the screw holes are recessed on the side about a ½ an inch. So consider this when access is limited after the amplifier is installed. SoundStream recommends a minimum of 8-gauge power and ground leads. Check out our amplifier installation kits online at qualitymobilevideo.com. Dimensions of the amplifier are 15 3/8 inches in length, 8.5 inches in width, and 2 inches in height. Overall, this isn't a bad amplifier, it's just inaccurately rated. Don't forget, it's under $110 and it'll do a fine job powering mid-level aftermarket speakers. Be sure to go to qualitymobilevideo.com to get all of your car audio and video gear with us today. Links in the bio. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and click that like button. If you hated it, click the dislike button. Join the conversation below and subscribe to our channel if you're new. Thanks for watching.